I had just enough of this board left over. I made these two trays, an ornate tray and a party tray. So this was off that same board. I had to cut a little bit of it and glue it back together here to make it wide enough for this pattern. It's just exactly the length, maybe a 64th short, but that's well within sanding range to smooth everything out. So anyway, this is what he calls a Steve Good pattern. It's what he calls a jewelry tray. And it's going to be the same thing. I'm going to cut this, make the relief cut and let it slide down in there. And then I got some fretwork on the outside. So I've already tested, as you can see these holes. I've been playing with the angles to get what I want. I've got the saw set, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And then I'll come back and cut this fretwork and then cut the whole thing out. So let me get it over to the saw and I'll start working on it. And this is the point where you want to stop and consider that you're cutting the right angle and in the right direction. So what I want is the inside of this hole to be smaller slightly than the top. And it's angled in that direction to do that. So I always stop and consider that before I start making the cut. So it appears to be correct. Thing is, you can, on this one, a project like this, you can flip it over and slide it out the other way. The only problem with that is if you've chosen one side of the board to be the top. And this one, I don't think it matters, but I'm going to consider this to be the top for the purposes of this project, and so this cut should make that work. I didn't think to mention I'm using a number 3 blade, and I've got that's how much inset I'm going to have on that. So now I'm going to cut out this fretwork. It'll take a little while. There's like 24 or so cuts. And then I'm going to cut the outside and glue this in and put a little finish on it. So let me get to work on this fretwork. Well, there it is. It's all cut out and glued together. It has about an hour's worth of cutting. It's not real intricate and not real hard. Just a little bit of time consuming, and I have to rest my back sometimes in between, hunched over there trying to look at it, the small details. But then I've glued this in. I've inset that, put just a little bit of glue on the bottom of that, pushed it down in there and cleaned it up. Rounded all the corners, that softened them a little bit all the way around, top and bottom, underneath and everything. And I went to show it to my wife, and her very first thought was, well, you could use that as a picture frame or even put a mirror in it. And she's correct, you could. That may be a future project I'll do with that. If I have something special I want to frame, it'd make a nice little frame for something. Anyway, that's what Steve Good calls a jewelry tray. I guess you could use it as any kind of tray you wanted to, or as a picture frame or a mirror. It's a very nice looking little piece, and I was able to get this one more tray out of that one board. You may can see the seam right there where I glued 2 pieces of that together. I had to cut it apart and long ways and put it together sideways so I get it wide enough for the pattern, and it was very, very little bit shorter on one end. I had to sand that down and make it all look right. But anyway, that's a nice short little project. I just wanted to use up that board. It's just sitting there. I hate having that scrap around, and it was enough to do this. And I think it looks really nice. So if you like that, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. You never know what I'm going to come up with next. And I like to put my own twist on some things sometimes. But this is Steve Good Pattern, and I'll have a link to it down in the description. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.